People say online, you should feel lucky. You never know what's gonna come in a couple weeks. So I'm trying to embrace the calm before a possible storm coming up. Hey ladies, and welcome back to my channel. I am, as of today, exactly 5 weeks pregnant. I'm 5 plus 0. So I thought I would take a quick moment to just talk about what's going on because my toddler is sleeping and this might be the only chance I get for the next several days to film this. So real quick, I have nothing to talk about. I have had no symptoms. I've joined a couple baby groups at this point and I see women talking about breast pain and food aversions and extreme hunger and exhaustion and even like morning sickness at this point. And I'm not feeling anything, and I'm due at the beginning of the month. I'm due on January 5th. So it's not like I'm just behind some of the other women in my January 2019 due date groups. But with that said, I do have a couple like small things going on. First of which is I am starting to experience the bloat. And I'll put up some pictures at the end of this video, doing a daily bump picture because I want to do a stop motion of the growth of my belly throughout my pregnancy. So yeah, I'll just include my 4 plus 0 to 4 plus 6 picture spread. I'm starting to get a little bloaty in the midsection. On top of that, I have been having some more, or I guess continuing wind in my pipes, so to speak. I don't know why I find that to be so difficult to talk about, and yet I talk about cervical mucus, all the time, so whatever. And speaking of cervical mucus, I still have that situation going as well. So those, God, I think those are really my only symptoms. I have had a couple instances over the past week, so like maybe 2 or 3 moments where I felt a little bit of cramping. And yesterday in particular, I remember feeling pretty crampy. I think I logged it in my fertility friend chart, which I will also include at the end of this video because guess what? I am still temping. Don't ask me why. I think I have a problem with pregnancy tests and with temping, and I don't think I'm going to be able to stop until I feel like I'm ready. And to that end, let's see, are there any other symptoms that I'm experiencing? My energy levels have been fine, my mood has been fine, my appetite has been normal, I've been working out, I am getting a cold. I think I have a virus right now. I can feel it in my throat and it's just really making me feel bleh. But that's not pregnancy related. I think that's it. I'm so boring right now and it's scary. Like part of me wants to feel something uncomfortable so that I know that this is even real. But I know that people say online, you should feel lucky. You never know what's going to come in a couple weeks. So I'm trying to embrace the calm before a possible storm coming up. I don't remember feeling anything with my daughter until I was around 6 weeks pregnant. I think it was right around that time that I was starting to feel symptoms. I started to feel round ligament pain at that time, and I started to feel like heavy exhaustion, and food aversions followed that, and it lasted for about a month. But back to pregnancy tests. I noticed something really interesting a couple days ago. I have continued, like I said, to take daily pregnancy tests, and my one-step tests reached the darkness, the test line reached the darkness of the control line a couple days ago. And then my Freers, the last one I took was, I believe 18 DPO. And the test line was, well, looking at this test now, it almost looks darker, but the test line was at least as dark as the control line. So that was 18 DPO. I had also taken another clear blue, and I'll show these at the end of the video in case anyone is as crazy about testing as I am and you want to see what my tests look like. I took a clear blue at 19 DPO and the test line was darker than the control line. By the way, I'm 21 DPO today, so that one was a couple days ago. I also got a new brand, a Swedish brand, just cheap from Apotek. Any of you who are from Sweden and watching this. And this was also on 19 DPO, and the test line was as dark as the control line. So, like, I'm kind of at that point now that I can't go any farther, really, and it's more just for fun that I continue to test. But these easy at home my line color stalled out at about 15 DPO. And from 15 DPO all the way until 19 DPO, the line color never changed. It was always about, I don't know, 25 to 50% of the darkness as the control line. And I'll show you guys these in a minute. And it was driving me crazy. I was wondering if I maybe even had a defective batch, because all of my other tests, long ago, the test line got at least as dark as the control line. But my easy at home test strips were stalling out. So I remember long ago, someone had said that with some of these strip tests, and maybe it's just with women, some women in general, they get darker lines in the evening than they do in the morning. I don't know why. I haven't read up on it, but it must have something to do with the way the body produces or accumulates HCG. I don't know. I don't drink anything overnight. I always pee at midnight, but then I get up at like 7, so I have a decent 7-hour hold. I don't have that during the day. I'm drinking a ton and I'm peeing a ton, so it doesn't logically make sense that I would have a darker line in the evening than I would first thing in the morning. But sure as shit, I've taken 6 p.m. tests 2 times, yesterday and the day before, and the lines are so much darker than my first morning urine lines. So I am going to conduct an experiment, and I'm going to attach it onto this video because I don't really have anything else to talk about, because I'm super boring and, you know, I'm not having any symptoms at all. Tonight, let's see, I've collected my first morning urine sample from this morning, and it's stored safely and tidily in a jar with a lid, everything like that. It's stored in my bathroom at room temperature. And then at 6 or 7 p.m. tonight, once my daughter is asleep, I'm going to take a sample then too, and I am going to test out at the same time 4 different brands of test. Because I have them, right? I have these stockpiled in my house, so why not use them? I'm going to try easy at home. I'm going to try one step. I have these Swedish Apotek tests, and I have the clear blue results in 1 minute tests. So I'm going to take 1 test of each brand and dip it into my first morning urine, and then 1 of each brand and dip it into my like end of day urine. And then I'm going to film it and see what happens, and see if actually I do consistently get darker lines in the evening than I do in the morning time, because I think that would be interesting. And I don't know, maybe it's just an anomaly with easy at home and all these other ones are going to be the same. Who knows? But we're going to do it because I think it would be cool. I'm also going to do it with OPKs because I have like 48 of them left in my box. They're all going to expire by the time I will have given birth. I'm hoping I'm not ever going to need them again, so I don't see the harm in blowing through 2 more of those. So if you're interested in seeing my little experiment, stay tuned. Otherwise, I will put up some pictures at the end of the video if you just fast forward through it of my bump progression. I don't really have a bump progression, but at least I have a little bloating at the end, and my fertility friend chart. The only other thing I can say is that I had my thyroid tested a couple days ago at my midwife's office, and she has put in a request to, I don't know, the doctor here, maybe it's the commune that needs to approve it, but she has requested I get an early ultrasound at the end of this month. I cannot believe it. I can't believe it's going to be only at the end of this month, but it'll be somewhere between 7 and 8 weeks gestation. So hopefully I will get a time booked for that in the mail soon. And then I have another thyroid test in the middle of this month. I think I need to go every 2 weeks in the beginning to get my thyroid tested. And I booked a private ultrasound. Currently it's set for 10 weeks and 4 days, I think, because I want to do the cell-free DNA blood test, which is also known as the NIPT, which tests for Downs, and then like trisomy 13 and 18. I think it's just those. And they also do an ultrasound in conjunction with that. So I'm thinking I might rebook that test now for 12 weeks so I can let it serve as my nuchal translucency test. Although it probably wouldn't matter because I'm already getting the blood test, but whatever. If I'm getting an ultrasound around 8 weeks, I might want to wait a month and do it again at 12 weeks just because there'll be more growth then. And that's it. So stay tuned if you're interested in this experiment. Okay, bye ladies. Real quick, before we get into the testing, I just want to say I noticed while I was editing these films, my hands, especially this finger, look blue because I made Play-Doh for my daughter, homemade Play-Doh, and the food coloring has gotten all over my hands and stained my skin. So please do not judge me for my hands looking like a mess in these videos. The 7 p.m. test for the clear blue, the line is slightly darker than the first morning urine. And then the same for the LH test strips. I felt like the 7 p.m. here was slightly darker than the first morning urine. The rest of these tests, I think this one, the 7 p.m. drew a little more dye from the control line than the first morning urine. But let's see. Yeah, that's it. So we got this one, this one, this one. Oh yeah, we have these one steps, which the 7 p.m., which is the bottom test strip, it does look slightly darker than the first morning urine, but that could just be a test strip variance. Those look pretty similar. But disappointingly enough, it seems like the only one where the first morning urine did look darker than the 7 p.m. was Easy at Home. So, you know, take that for what it's worth. There's like a weird issue with that bottom test strip where the test line is faint in the middle. But anyway, but one interesting takeaway from all of this, honestly, I just think I'm too pregnant to have properly conducted this test. I think that if I was not so far along, it would have been easier to see differences between all of these. But the one thing I can say is that the first morning urine, like I said, was after a 7-hour hold and obviously no drinking overnight. Whereas the 7 p.m. test was after only a 2 to 3 hour hold and I had been guzzling water all day. So, and when you look at these lines, for all intents and purposes, they're identical. So could it just be that I'm too pregnant and these lines aren't going to get much darker? I don't think that's the case for the Easy at Home, but maybe the rest of them, I don't know. But it doesn't seem like there was much of a difference between a 7-hour no drinking hold and a 2 to 3 hour hold with tons of drinking throughout the day. So that's the experiment. So that is it for my 5-week update. I am exhausted. It's the next day from when I filmed yesterday, and so I'm going to take a nap while my daughter sleeps. And hopefully next week I'll have some interesting things to talk about. But I think after my experiment yesterday, I think I'm done with my daily testing. There's really not much else to see at this point, so it's been a fun journey and extremely exciting, but I think I'm done with testing every morning. I do have one final clear blue digital that I'm going to take either tomorrow or the next day, just because I want to see it say 3+ weeks on the screen. But that's my last test, really. So stay tuned, like and subscribe if you want. Otherwise, I will be back next week with a new update. Bye, guys.